From Bayonetta 3's DLC to Bayonetta 5, I missed you all by the way, I just found the best way for all the Bayonetta variants to potentially return. And no, it's not just them simply being alive right after this scene. There is a better way. This video will cover Bayo 3's DLC, Jean's plot twist, how Bayonetta 4 and Bayonetta 5 can play out, the next major antagonist after Singularity, and I even brought someone really special to talk about this topic at the end. I predict they will release a DLC for Bayonetta 3. Having a huge time skip for Viola is a big mistake. Platinum Games, you're going to be dumb as if you do. No, I'm sure. I love you, Platinum Games, but I mean going straight to her having the sexiness and gracefulness of the Bayonetta we know, that is a huge mistake. But don't worry, I'm gonna get to that. They already rushed her introduction. Slowing down her development to the player will give us the chance to adjust to what is called the new generation. The logo that I designed, I theorize will have the 4 replacing the A, or the Roman numerals IV. The reddish tone is to signify that this is a new saga, starting from square one again. But why I chose the overall hot pink vibe, you'll see soon. The crack that resembles the 3 from Bayonetta 3 is still visible to signify that the events of Bayo 3 have happened and is a huge scar to all of us that we are currently still healing. Now, this next DLC, after the release of Bayonetta Origins, will tap into Viola's senior year in 2026 and will visibly and behaviorally revolve around Viola's imposter syndrome with the mantle of Bayonetta. Shout out to my guy HB for getting these Mari Shimazaki inspired concepts for this video. Thank you so much, man. Link to his Instagram down below. Let's just pause the multiverse, the supernatural, and the time travel for just a little bit. Trust me, this will flow towards the end of the video really well. This DLC will be a 3-year time skip from the events of Bayonetta 3, where the concept of magic and knowledge of supernatural beings is starting to be of common knowledge and accepted by the general public, which is why Viola doesn't need to go into Purgatorio while in public or at school, but you can also deduce that currently Viola seems to only bring her sword out when she's off on monster missions, as she is seen arriving at the gates of hell without Mob Dachi, so they are all still quite low-key. I'm thinking this will change within a few years where hunters become an actual career for fighters and people. But to be honest, I'm fine if she stays low-key in her next arc, maintaining that underground black market trope of angel and devil hunters, just like how Bayonetta has been for the past 3 games. But at the same time, I'm also happy if they start familiarizing magic with the general public. For the sake of this video, we'll go with the concept of if the general population is aware of magic and the supernatural. I also predict that this DLC will introduce new characters from Viola's age group, which will reveal that Umbran Arts isn't the only style out there coming out of the shadows. Especially having the whole our world can be invaded anytime now in the general public's conscience. The world needs more fighters more than ever. Essentially, I like to think that the events of Bayonetta 3 actually revealed to the public that magic is real, which changed the economic and social landscape of the population, and something that the Umbran Witches and Lumen Sages tried to suppress 500 years ago. This allows for a hint of world building just from the DLC. Anyways, I theorize also in this DLC we will see Viola's best friend. It mirrors the connection that Cereza and John had in Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2, or in the multiverse. As Cereza had John throughout her schooling in the 1420s, Viola has, let's call her Chris, just as a placeholder for Viola's best friend. But the name will make sense the more I explain what her story is. Now, I like to speculate that this best friend utilizes a magic very familiar to all of us, but is not recognized by Viola at all. And remember, this DLC, or these next few chapters of Bayonetta, should purely be Earth-based for now, cleaning up monsters of the week, etc. This in turn makes Viola visibly showing how bored she is with these types of tasks that Radahn puts her through. Though this DLC should also show how much of a bond she has with her best friend. You can put as many gameplay fights as you want and have a minor antagonist for these few chapters connected to the next major villain in Bayonetta 4 or 5. So the next DLC, just introducing or reintroducing Viola again and showing what she's up to and showing a little bit of the world around her now. Now this is where Bayonetta 4 comes in. Now that we've already familiarized ourselves with the current world situation of the Brave timeline, or where the world is at right now, Bayonetta 4 should continue off after the DLC. A few months later, I should say. I predict that we find out Viola is growing tired of being on training wheels and is far more driven to prove why she's been bestowed the mantle of Bayonetta. The major antagonist for this 4th Bayonetta game should be human, for now, and of course someone who Viola wants to take down. I theorize Bayonetta 4's antagonist, if it is still Earth-based, will be someone who wants to erase magic and connections to other worlds. Not the multiverse, I mean bringing it back to something about the Trinity of Realities, something they forgot in Bayonetta 3. A human who wants to sever the connections, as he thinks it'll bring a collapse to society. Because it's only been 3 years after magic and the supernatural have been somewhat generalized. He'll of course make it akin to why the Lumen Sages and Umbran Witches were so secretive. Balter in Bayonetta 1 aimed to resurrect Jubileus, to be the sole commander of the Trinity of Realities, and arguably bring back Rosa and his family. Aesir, or Lopter, aimed to fuse the Trinity of Realities together to be under his command, arguably to prepare against Singularity. Sigurd, or Singularity, aimed to conquest and delete the multiverse entirely to make his one the dominant one, while Bayonetta 4's antagonist should aim to sever magic from chaos, and therefore prevent political, social, economical, and a classist society determined by magic and power. A very human-centric goal. A minor twist is, this next villain, I predict, will be a branch from GORC, or GORC, the Global Something Research Center, and will lead a small resistance in either killing off magic users or stripping away their powers. This will likely be hinted in the prologue chapter where, let's say, a student from Viola's school is stripped from their magic and is a normal human. But I theorize Bayonetta 4 will be a dark one. I predict if it is in her senior year, she'll have slightly longer hair, is a little bit taller, more voluptuous, I guess, I don't know. But you can see that she's visibly matured and is grown throughout college, and has trained up a bit after fighting monsters of the week or monsters of the day, etc. But I theorize in Bayonetta 4, Viola will have her best friend die right in front of her. And you know what? I also predict Viola will use her strongest form again, her Twilight form, but it is useless against this new antagonist. And get this, I can imagine Mabdachi being shattered and broken by this villain. But at the end of Bayonetta 4, the shards and blades are remelted and repurposed into the 4 guns that Radahn will gift her as a graduation gift. Chris, or whoever her best friend is, dying at the fault of herself is insane character development, or it doesn't even have to be her best friend. It can be someone that she's known for a while staying in the Brave timeline. That really breaks her. But she is going to experience some character development deaths, because I feel Bayonetta 4 will showcase how Viola will break the rules or lessons that she was taught by brave Cereza in Bayonetta 3.
Lesson 2. Learn to fight for others, not just for yourself.
We need to see how broken Viola will become in order for her to finally strut that confident, classy vibe that the Bayonetta mantle emanates. I feel it's very fitting too, because since Bayonetta is now revealed to be a mantle with a family name, the previous Bayonettas, Cereza and most likely Rosa, pretty much logically led difficult 15th century lives of survival, death, loss, and trauma, which led to their steel-coated attitude later in life. Compared to Viola, who's likely led a positive life, to no fault of her own. It's the Boruto effect. People trash Viola to say how much she's so different from Cereza, but she was born in a different time, and likely in a time that Cereza wanted her to live in. I remember people trashing on Boruto at the time before, but if you think about it, Boruto is essentially Naruto if he had everything. And most of the kids in Boruto have most things that the people in Naruto fought for. A peaceful life. So you can't really blame the next generation for being soft when you fought for a peaceful life for them to stay in. That's what I think differentiates Viola now, and why her character is so fitting and so modern. Since Viola was so carefree and not as survivalistic, classy, and sassy as Bayonetta was, I believe she will be broken in this next game. And I theorize and suggest to Platinum Games for Viola to lose so much in Bayonetta 4. The ending of Bayonetta 4 should be Viola's graduation ceremony, where instead of attending the graduation ceremony, she visits her best friend's grave, essentially mirroring the emotion we had from Bayonetta 1, where it was all jokes and sassiness at the start, to having a serious tone of what shrines and cemeteries are realistically like. I feel Bayonetta 4 will not showcase an ending, but a sign of a new war. Remember how I said the antagonist will somehow be human, but only for now. This is where we can bring Radahn into the mix. Massive wishful thinking, but this whole video is wishful thinking anyway. But I think someone severing the connections between the Trinity of Realities, not the multiverse, is what will concern Radahn. Because he loves to traverse the Trinity at times. It's his hobby, it's his business. Maybe that's what he was secretly concerned about, or what he thought was happening during Bayonetta 3, but found out it wasn't. That's why he wasn't at the fight. It is then revealed that this human, a resistance against Gork and magic itself, was possessed and puppeteered by one of the 7 Archangels of Paradiso. I know, this whole video is a stretch, but what else can you put in after fighting such a multiversal threat? Something much bigger. Imagine if these Archangels of Paradiso, and later on these 7 Princes of Inferno, were secretly much stronger than that of Jubileus and Sheba. I've had this idea ever since playing Bayonetta 1 those years ago, where you do see 6 to 7 humanoid angels in the Ithavol building before you fight Jubileus. I also like to think that this is why Radahn is finally concerned, or at least what he thought was going to happen in Bayonetta 3. Because what if Radahn Gordon's story about being the controller of a portion of Paradiso originally meant he was one of the 7 Archangels, and the form we see in Bayonetta 1 was secretly just a fraction of it, a weakened version of his original self. I theorized there could be 7 new Archangels: Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Kamael, Raphael, Yofel, and Zadkiel. I'm pretty sure I butchered a lot of those names, or all of them. These beings are far bigger than that of Singularity, and perhaps what Singularity was trying to stop by taking control of all the universes. Or perhaps these Archangels needed Arch-Eve and Arch-Adam out of the picture before they can come in to announce Judgment Day. I predict bringing back the Angels as threats in Bayonetta 5 would possibly revitalize what it meant to be an Umbran Witch, potentially even bringing back a similar feeling and vibe to what you felt when you were playing Bayonetta 1, bringing back that nostalgic grayscale to yellow type of contrast. Bayonetta 5, I predict, will be the time, after all the heartbreak and trauma that Viola goes through, that will showcase what my good friend Leily showed. This is the time when adult Viola comes in, wielding guns that are made from the metal of Mabdachi, in a similar shape to Scarborough or Whittingham Fair, a tribute to her biological mother. The only difference I think Viola will have will be that each gun will have its own bayonet, just like the A being removed from the title logo. LeilyIllustra, shout outs to you and your husband. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for the support. And if you are watching this together on your phone or on the laptop or on the TV, much love and support to you too. Thank you so much for allowing me to use this concept, which I believe should be the basis for Viola's future design in Bayonetta 5 onwards. Links to Leily's Twitter and freelance services are in the description below. But if Bayonetta 4 introduces a much bigger threat than that of Singularity, how in chaos would we even have a chance against the Pantheon of Trinity, or whoever the big baddie is in Bayonetta 5? We're not done with Bayonetta 4 yet. We still have the end credit scene, to which I predict will be the scene of the new Gork facility. The Gork organization in this timeline still maintains its vision of protecting Earth, but the twist is, it's led none other by Jeanne, who has been alive all this time, with her hair dyed black. Or, no, that was just me. I want to see her in black hair, but yeah. Regardless, I honestly like to think that Jeanne's power is not just Umbran arts, but the plot armor of coming back alive no matter how many times she dies, quote unquote. I predict that she's secretly incognito at Gork still, both leading the organization and, get this, has been spending all her days finding a way to bring back all Cereza variants. Because I really think they are all confirmed dead. That way, them helping out at the end of Bayonetta 3 is like their last ditch effort before they lie to rest. But what if all the Jeanne variants in every single timeline are secretly working together and communicating throughout the multiverse to try and bring back their Umbran sister? This plot, I believe, is infinitesimally much more exciting than just writing in that they are alive all this time, being all no way homed and whatnot. Because if that were true, that they are all simply back alive again, then Whittingham Bayonetta is now alive in her timeline. Why should she be an exception? Because saying she's now alive just takes away the emotion from the prologue and every other death, of course. And why would Viola be in the Brave timeline if her original timeline is fine? I think Viola being in the Brave timeline signifies that they are confirmed dead. But this plot gives Jeanne, gives us, gives Viola, gives Team Bayonetta a common goal to fix the tears in our hearts that Bayonetta 3 gave all of us. It also matches with Kamiya saying how his next few games might make the fans say you did that because of the response from Bayonetta 3. I think in order to keep his Bayonetta 3 plot cemented, the drama and plot of trying to find a way to bring back Cereza will essentially eventually give us that happy ending that every one of us were hoping for. But how in chaos would Jeanne execute such a gargantuan task? I mean, to resurrect an infinite amount of Cerezas in the multiverse. She does it with what she was originally tasked to do those centuries ago, with the strongest matter of magic in the Bayoverse, capable of constructing, deconstructing, and reconstructing reality itself. Singularity discovered a way to erase anything and everything from existence. What if you can do the reverse? The strongest plot device that was not even mentioned once in Bayonetta 3. But this is the time when we're gonna use it. We just need 2 of them. From every single possible timeline out there. This is why I theorize Jeanne will find a certain little one to help her out. The Save Cereza theory. I'm rocking. Wait, you know what? All this future Viola talk is great and all, but why don't we just ask Viola herself? Hello? Hi?
Hello?
Hi!
Hi!
Oh my god, it's so nice to meet you.